Yeah, I want to get into something. I kind of expected this to happen. Bob Beck zapper microcurrent blood electrifier fight back against Ebola. Now, I'm not going to complain about the manufacturer or anything of this Bob Beck electrifier, but I'm going to tell you flat out, um, this guy Bob Beck really said a lot of stuff that just flat out wasn't true. I am not against using nature or using microelectricity, or if you want to call it energy medicine, quote unquote, or using herbs or using ozone. I'm not against using any of these alternative procedures against attempting to fight diseases, viruses, or cancers. But the other thing is, if you think I know the doctors have become the medical field has now a tainted reputation because a lot of people are aware there are too many doctors out there that are money hungry, and it's not even just them. They're in cahoots with the pharmaceutical companies have them leverage over the doctors. It's like a big labyrinth. Even if you have a good doctor, their hands are tied against things. But they will be able to evaluate if you're getting better in a real way. Now, I'm going to state that I kind of figured this was going to come out, and I don't want to say anything about the vendor or nothing, but I'm going to state this, that the Bob Beck electrifier is basically more of a, let me say, it's more of a um, feel-good device in some ways because it does provide more energy. He made a lot of claims about this deal. Actually, his big thing was back when it was HIV, but he talked about in the future there could be Islamic terrorists that are going to smuggle viruses into the country. Now, one thing that's going on right now is they're talking about Islamic terrorists or ISIS smuggling in Ebola into the USA to try to infect the infidels. Okay, they're actually trying to do that. It's almost going along with what Bob Beck said way back when. But I'm going to tell you this: if you try to use his zapper against some serious viral issue or a cancer, hang it up. I mean, you might want to use it in conjunction with other things, but some of the ludicrous things that Bob Beck said was, don't take any medicines. None. Now, actually, one of the doctors over in Africa found a particular antiviral heart let me just call it anti-HIV drug. You want to call it that? That worked, and one of the drugs actually worked against Ebola. So Bob Beck, you got to watch this deal because I'm going to flat out say this guy must have been working for some. I don't think he was stupid. There's something really wrong with this guy's claims. But basically, way back when, he used to say, and this is taken word for word from his garbage, he had a perfectly workable 95% accurate cure. Use the word, for HIV. He goes, why haven't you heard about this? Why aren't there hospital studies? There are hundreds of them. And, he talked about, he did all these studies with 24 AIDS patients. And also you'll see Russ Tortledge of Soda Instruments, who sells his devices, that we treated 8 PCR tested HIV positive customers after treatments ranged in length between 2 weeks and 2.5 months. They each went to zero below detectable levels. We were absolutely astounded to get that type of documentation. But nobody's been able to repeat this type of thing. Nobody. That's the deal. And one thing that Beck says is don't take any kind of herbs or even take extra vitamins. If you start freaking out enough to deal with this, I'm going to tell you this right now. The original study, like in other words, it says here that Russ Tortledge of Soda Instruments did this, and I'm just stating what exactly it says. That's what it says. It's all over the freaking internet. It's these statements. But the original thing that Bob Beck did with 8 PCR positive HIV customers, whatever it was, he actually hired medical doctors, Bob Beck originally, and they stayed PCR positive. The only thing that happened was most or all of their symptoms disappeared. They had better energy levels. The Beck Zapper seems to really boost your energy levels. It probably does. I know people examine blood, and they said that it unclumps the blood cells, and it helps, therefore that makes the blood cells more efficient at ATP transfer and energy transfer in and out of the mitochondria of the cell. That's probably cool. That probably is legit. But does that mean it actually will kill viruses and stuff? And you say it does it, even if it stuns viruses in the blood. The rest of the blood is not the main portion that viruses are in. They're mainly in the lymph system, in the gut, even in the bone marrow. And there's all kinds of claims about this protocol that's really been a major dampener on the field of, let's call it quote unquote, energy medicine or healing with microelectricity. It's preceded Bob Beck by many years. But I'm telling you, this Beck Protocol has been a major stumbling block to advancing what is actually the truth. Now, I know the major medical people do not like, they do not endorse this type of stuff. But I just got to state that, there's an evil afoot in the alternative world, and there's evil afoot in the established medical world. They're both. There's problems in both of them. Now, actually, one of the things, I'm going to get onto this because the Ebola, you're not going to have a prayer's chance to freaking evaluate a situation if you think that the Beck zapper is going to save you because of a terrorist attack upon the United States. It's not. Now, I have a video on something that allegedly may work against Ebola besides the antiviral HIV drugs. And that is using, and actually I got my information, I'll tell you where I got my information from. I'm not even making claims on it will work. But I got my information basically from studies originally from Dr. Kleiner that go all the way back to the 40s, cure 60 out of 60 polio cases in 1947, 48. Dr. Cathcart and Dr. Levy. I actually have the book by Dr. Levy, and I've read extensively about also Dr. Linus Pauling. But when they're talking massive doses of vitamin C, woo, it's really massive, man. It's not like 30 times the recommended requirement. It's more like at least 1,000 times. It's up there, man. It's up there. But you gotta you can't even take what I'm saying as gospel because I'm not a doctor. I have not evaluated this personally. What I'm telling you is what I'm trying to find out from other doctors that I think are, well, there are medical professionals. They're not somebody selling zappers. They're not somebody selling supplements. They have used massive doses of vitamin C. Now, you're also talking about Dr. Linus Pauling. I know it's gotten controversial about cancer and viruses. They were even going to replace AZT, the drug they initially used against HIV, with vitamin C. They were talking about that. They thought massive doses of vitamin C seemed to be even better than that, but it can't be patented. See, I'm not on the side of the medical establishment, but I am definitely not on the side of these alternative yo-yos making these freaking astronomically stupid claims, and then, telling people that they're doctors that have been working with patients for freaking decades that they don't know what they're doing. They do know what they're doing. They might not know everything there is in the world about nutrition or this microelectricity stuff because they haven't been dealing with it. But that doesn't mean that they don't know what the hell they're doing. They can evaluate the sickness or the health of a patient. But here's one that was one of the biggest, and I got to get onto this because we got to get some background to this Ebola stuff. There's only one active, I'll show you where this is. This is actually on AIDS denialism. There's only one active AIDS denialist with any major scientific standing, and that's Duesberg, Dr. Peters Duesberg. And he does have, he's a member of the National Academy of Sciences, but the thing is, he cannot actually support his findings with scientific peer-reviewed studies. He actually relies more on the internet, according to this, and that's what I see, to promote his views directly to the public. I don't know what this guy's deal is because, and then you see a gazillion people that don't trust the medical establishment, which I don't trust them either, will repeat Dr. Duesberg's statements that HIV is a harmless retrovirus. He can get away with that because it probably takes 10, 20 years for it to really kill somebody in most instances. But in the case of Ebola, you're not going to have the luxury of waiting 10 to 20 years. You're going to have the luxury of finding out in a few days. So the thing is, a lot of these alternative treatments do not freaking work. Now, this is another thing. You'll see this on the cancertutor.com. This is another place that it's got a mixture of good and bad information, in my opinion. It claims the Beck Protocol, blood purifier, is a stage 3 protocol against cancer. Now, I'm going to tell you, I don't think so, because it would have actually been known by a hell of a lot more people, but it does seem to provide more energy to the body. And that in itself could be useful. But the other side of it is Dr. Bob Beck, Ph.D., not a medical doctor, and he states that not to take any medicines or herbs. That's getting freaking, that's really telling you medical advice right flat out, isn't it? Isn't it? When somebody's telling you flat out, use my zapper, don't take any herbs or medicines or anything like that, and my zapper is going to cure every damn thing, that's giving you flat out medical advice. I don't even do that stuff. I'll tell you something that, I read this study, I read that study, and it's per these real doctors, or even I kind of like tone it down a lot, because I know there's things out there that I could say that are probably even a lot stronger than ever put out there on the internet. But I always tell people to evaluate what's really going on with your doctor. I do. And that's the thing. I don't come out and say, don't go to your doctor and use a blood zapper. That's bullshit. Now, the one I've been looking at recently was two things, actually, is the Parazapper by the Parazapper My zapper, which is the best zapper going in the planet. But is it going to work? Even when I put a video out on that, some of all the different frequencies it uses with positive offset, I don't know if it's going to work on everything. I think it's, of zappers in the zapper world, it's the best one. If that one don't work, none of them going to work, period. That's what I'm going to tell you right now, because pretty much my zapper is many zappers in one, and it incorporates all the best technology. And actually, for the money, it's freaking, you're talking, I don't know what soda charges for $200-something. My zapper's $350, and it's like freaking gazillion times better, in my opinion. Actually, if you want to get onto like what the Beck Protocol, if you want to look around, if you look on eBay, $129. This is basically a one battery zapper. I know it's got a very expensive shipping, $50, but still, that's way less than $40 for shipping the main Beck endorsed product, is it not? And if you want to try something, it's a one battery setup with a colloidal silver generator, and it's but the thing is, it's like, if you want to try it, say it makes you feel better, or if it helps you out, fine, try it. But is it some kind of cure-all? Hell no. Come on. It's like, if the people would, the one thing that may be the most effective probably overall, but it's, everything's got drawbacks. Like a zapper is portable. You could take it with you. It might be spooky too, that I talked about before in many videos. But, there's been people saying it have some pretty damn good success rates with it. But when you're talking about like spooky too and comparing that to the frequency generator with all the programmable frequencies and comparing it to this, a Beck zapper. And now, even though this Beck zapper's half the money of, other stuff that's out there, it's not, I don't know. Do what you want, but just watch out for these freaking yo-yos with their alternative claims, because it gets ridiculous. Now, I put something out about Ebola, intravenous vitamin C, not colloidal silver. The one thing with colloidal silver, even nano silver, or all this type of stuff, it's like it works on all kinds of viruses outside the body. But when you take a little bit of nano silver and it's floating around the body, it gets super diluted. Even if it can get to every part of the body, it's super diluted. And the problem is, this virus is replicating itself extremely fast. Now, I would trust intravenous vitamin C, but the problem is you're not going to be able to get that in the United States. Now, if you're in another country and you can work with a doctor you can ask him for intravenous vitamin C, you might want to alert them to these things, because then you could say, hey, I heard about this. Could you try this? It may help. Now, there's also a doctor that actually found one. I forgot the name of the drug, but it's actually now it's no longer patented. I have a video out on it that they found one drug that had a 93% survival rate with Ebola victims that was an anti-HIV drug. But if you're going to rely on a Beck zapper for Ebola, hang it up. You're dead. I'm going to tell you that flat out right now. I don't know if there's going to be some problem in the United States. I know ISIS is trying to get in the United States and do all these different things and blah, blah, blah. And, I don't know if that's going to happen, but it's one of the things they're talking about right now. But considering how this disinformation has been out for 20 years now about this Beck zapper curing AIDS and HIV, or HIV for specifically, it doesn't. That it cures cancer, it doesn't. That it actually works against all these parasites, it does a little bit. It does knock out, I think, in my opinion, my humble opinion, I think it does work against some microbes. In my very much convinced opinion, though, from my personal experience, it does reboost your energy levels. And that in itself can make you think you're getting a lot better, but you may not be. That's the other thing, too. That could also help you to get better by getting better energy levels, and your body actually does it. But is it going to work against Ebola or bird flu or H1N1 or HIV? No, it's not. As a matter of fact, it could be, because the way this thing actually works with, the Beck zapper and stuff like that. Now, I'm showing one here. Now, I think this is a good vendor. Also, Silver Smoke Research is another good vendor. You can get them cheap. The Beck zapper, pretty cheap, far cheaper than the one that's officially endorsed by the Beck, Bob Beck. But it's all made exactly the way it should be. There's nothing wrong with it. You're just getting it at a much better price. Actually, 100% positive feedback. I don't have anything to do with this guy or nothing. I'm just telling you that there's better deals out there. You don't need to get ripped off. But the thing is, what I'm saying is, you got to watch with the claims that Bob Beck made, because he flat out, he had to be lying. One of the things he talked about was garlic being very bad for you, because they used to put it on the bullets in World War I to poison victims, and don't use it with a zapper. Well, the thing is, if you choose between using garlic and a zapper, you'd be better off using the garlic. Garlic has been used by the ancients all the way back to the Romans and the Greeks as a medicine. That was one of their main medicines way back when. Why? Because a lot of the issues with the body are actually, most of your pathogens are actually in the gut. Garlic takes care of that. Now, if you get a high-quality aged garlic by a reputable manufacturer, you don't have any of those problems with the garlic breath. And you actually don't have the problems with, the other effects of raw garlic. Aged garlic is the one you would want. That's another thing Beck said not to do. But right now, I'm seeing, use the Beck Protocol to stop Ebola. Oh, come on, man. This is getting freaking ridiculous. It said, first the claims were about HIV. That was the big thing initially. Then it was about cancer. And I'm saying, this is getting to be freaking ludicrous. I'm telling you this right now because I'm getting sick of this garbage, because it's I'm actually kind of risking my neck putting some stuff out here, but maybe I'm not, because I'm not making a strong enough claim. I'm making it here's the studies I saw, here's what it probably looks to be the best, but I always evaluate things with your doctor, right? Some of this microelectricity stuff, I think in the future microelectricity will be the norm of a medicine versus using chemical therapies with pharmaceutical drugs. Probably microelectricity will be very common with frequencies and things to address various issues in the body. That may be the very much the future of medicine right now. But you got to watch, because there's been so much garbage mixed in with the good, it becomes tough to evaluate what is correct. And that's why you actually have professional medical people. But the problem is, yes, it's true that if you can actually fight a lot of disease with, say, microelectricity or simple vitamin C, there goes their profitability revenue stream model, right? It's out the window. I do know this. I am aware of this. But is the Bob Beck zapper microcurrent blood electrifier, is it going to fight Ebola? Actually, I'm going to tell you this. There's a one problem with the Bob Beck zapper that a lot of people don't think of. It's probably better on, well, I'll tell you this. I don't know this for a fact, but it's probably better on bacterial issues than viral issues. It actually is something that seems to, but he also nicknamed it the plant growth stimulator. It seems to provide more energy levels. It seems to bring more ATP into the body, bring in unclump the red blood cells. They did look at this under the microscope, and they saw the blood cells are no longer clumped together, so they seem to work more efficiently, which can bring more nutrients into the body. But on the same side, the other side of the flip side to that, it can also make the production of viruses even faster. You see, you might have better energy, you might have better production of ATP, you might have more nutrients going in the body, but at the same time, it's making everything work faster, not just the body, but also the disease. So you got to be careful with this. And you know, if they even if it flat out stunned all the bad stuff in the blood, which it doesn't claim to do, it says it actually stuns it. Well, it says it doesn't kill it. It says it stuns it so it can't replicate. That's its claims, of course, the Bob Beck electrifier. The problem is that I'll show my video here as I'm talking. The problem is that the Bob Beck electrifier does not reach the lymph system. It does not reach, even where the teeth are per se, where there could be reservoirs of infection. It does not reach into the gut lining. It does not reach into the Peyer's patches or whatever the hell it is. It doesn't reach into a lot of areas deep within the body where electricity basically will not pass through very easily. Now, what may work, which Bob Beck said doesn't work, is Rife machines. Now, Spooky 2, probably in so fairly new future, will be closer to the real McCoy Rife machine when they come out with their plasma device. But, I don't know if that's going to work. I mean, the word will get out and the truth will get out eventually. But right now, the word is getting out on a lot of alternative medicine that it's, they're pushing stuff that's actually been known to be wrong for 20 years. The Bob Beck Protocol is not bad, but just remember its limitations. Bob Beck freaking just blew it right out, and I just can't see how a guy with 180 IQ that have been dealing with all kinds of people for gazillion years could be making these statements year after year after year without freaking just lying. I mean, I don't know what the hell to say about this crap. I mean, it's just exactly what's going on. And the vendors that are selling this stuff, they're not pushing accurate information. They're actually telling people it does this, it does that, and people are finding out, hey, in some cases they like it, but in other cases it's not living anywhere near up to expectations, and in some cases people are dying. That's bullshit. I'm going to tell you that right now. That's freaking sick. That's sick. You know what I mean? That's sick. And, with Ebola, you're going to be dead inside of 3 days if you freaking go play around with this Beck Protocol and think it's going to work. Ozone, the most powerful ways of using ozone is through, well, you got to do it with a doctor, an intravenous or that rectal sulfilation method with high-quality ozone generator and ozone concentrator. Ozonated water is not going to do much. That's another thing the Bob Beck guy said. It's not going to do that much. You might feel like it wakes you up. You might do a little bit. It does do, it's like good for little minor stuff maybe here and there, or to use as an adjunct. It's not the be-all, cure-all bullshit these guys have been saying, and all these people are pushing this garbage are vendors, and they're keeping this garbage alive, and it's not true. It's not true. I'm telling you flat out. Because I was looking, I said, watch the freaking Ebola thing come out where they say it's a cure for Ebola. Fight Ebola with the Beck Protocol. And I'm like saying, here it goes. Here we go. Same garbage, leading people down a freaking the wrong path. And like I said, I am not a person that's I don't really like a lot of the doctors. I think they're very highly paid sometimes, and it's like, I'm not a highly paid individual doing something like this. I'm not somebody like getting millions of views on here like some other famous doctors or something. Like you see Dr. Oz, tell you all this stuff. Like for instance, like for instance, I actually get a lot of times people would tell me they want to put links on my videos to sell their products for weight loss or something garbage or this or that, and I never do it. I never do it. Never. Never. As a matter of fact, only links I put out there is because, and actually, even the links I put out there, I don't like make claims on their products, maybe the way the vendor does. I actually just tell you that it's a good value for the money if you want to try it. That's about it. That's about it. For like one of the biggest things that people put out on the internet for like health and feeling good is weight loss. Now, actually, the simplest thing with weight loss probably is if you grow your own damn food and don't get it from the supermarket where it's genetically modified, because there isn't one damn thing you could probably get in the supermarket that doesn't have loads of pesticides in it and hormones. I mean, you can't even get chicken today. If you looked at a chicken size from 1957 to today, the chicken size today is like 4 times bigger. It's a big giant ogre because they're trying to produce more chicken with less feed, and you don't know what the hell you're getting. They're jacked up with so many hormones, it's ridiculous. And when you eat that stuff, who the hell knows what it does to your body? I mean, that's really why there's a weight problem. It's because of all the hormones, the pesticides, the genetically modified foods, the high fructose corn syrup, and there's people selling all these skinny weight loss formulas for big bucks to freaking fix it. And actually, the solution is if you just grow a damn garden and grow your own food, you'll probably be 100 times better off. So I mean, the doctors will probably give you insulin versus, telling you to go on a better diet too. They're a bunch of yo-yos too. Some in certain cases, depends on who it is. But the internet seems to like to repeat like stuff like Duesberg and stuff, where they're telling you, oh yeah, Duesberg, yeah, he's telling us the truth. Why is he telling you the truth? Why is he telling you the truth and everybody else is not? Why? You even trust this guy? He's got a PhD after his name. He's got initials after his name. How do you know he's not playing some kind of scam? How do you know? How do you know? So I'm going to tell you this, just to sum it up again. This Beck Protocol ain't going to work on Ebola. It's not going to work on Ebola. Period. 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 And there's going to be plenty of other bullshit out there to tell you that's going to work. And this is one thing, I mean, I'm not keen on the FDA because they're freaking. But the thing is, a lot of times the FDA will warn people that are in this alternative stuff to like, hey, you're making claims. Shut up. They'll tell them first before they freaking go in there and try to kill them or something or whatever they do. You know what I mean? Before they get they play hardball or something. You know what I mean? A lot of times the FDA will tell people beforehand, hey, you shouldn't be doing this. We're warning you. They don't always warn people, but sometimes they do. They do warn people before they slam them sometimes. But what I'm saying is, I can't think of the FDA as all totally evil. I know they're in bed with the pharmaceutical. Well, let me put it this way. I know Big Bucks Pharmaceutical has got a major influence in the FDA. I'm not in the FDA. I do know that. But on the other side of it, the alternative yo-yos are just as bad in many cases too. So a lot of times when I try to give you stuff, I'm trying to give you the best information I know, as honest as I can, and I am fairly intelligent, and I try to do damn good research on things, and I don't flat out say it's going to freaking work, and I tell people to go evaluate stuff with their doctor. Now, what I think is going to be a damn good idea with Ebola, because it kind of goes back a long ways, is this intravenous vitamin C. I think this is a good solution for it, and if the other thing that just came up is that one doctor with the that one drug that worked against, that's an HIV antiviral that had a 93% success rate, and I'll point to the video I did on that. But it's all from the major news, and it's a fact. The guy did have a 93% success rate, and before 70% of the people were dead. This time it was 93% of them lived. So that stuff was probably working. But I think intravenous vitamin C might be one of your better treatments out there, and it goes by, well, I guess Dr. Cathcart, Dr. Levy, Dr. Linus Pauling. Now, Dr. Linus Pauling was not an MD, but he was a Nobel Peace Prize winner. Yes, he did die of prostate cancer, but he wasn't really taking the mega doses like some of the others were telling him to take. He was taking mega doses, but nowhere near. I don't want to say, because there's a flip side to all this garbage. Even with the vitamin C, if you take vitamin C, it depletes copper. It depletes other minerals in the body. But if you got an emergency, this might be one thing you might want to suggest to your doctor. If you're not in the United States, if you're in the United States, they probably won't allow this. The problem with the vitamin C is this one probably is a conspiracy, because vitamin C can't be patented and it's cheap. It really would hurt their bottom line a lot. But it's a hell of a lot of it. It's not like a little bit. And I can't be playing games on here telling you what to do, but I'm just kind of pointing you in the right direction. It's a lot. It's a lot. You wouldn't believe it. Sometimes they're talking like 3,000 times the recommended daily requirement according to some of these doctors. Doctors. Now, I'm not telling you to do that, but if I had Ebola, that's what I would do. Okay? I wouldn't be playing around with this Beck Protocol bullshit. I'll tell you that right now. Anyway, over and out.